Welcome to the Job, Internship, and Co-op Search Strategies presentation. Searching can be exciting, but also stressful and time-consuming. It's important to head into this experience with an idea of what to expect and be as prepared as possible. So beginning the search, starting early is really important. In CSE, we have kind of a typical recruiting cycle. Oftentimes, there's a lot of recruiting happening at the beginning of the fall semester and then again at the beginning of the spring semester. You'll also want to prioritize and think about what's important to you in the position that you're seeking. It might be location, the industry, salary. We'll talk more about these later on. Using a variety of search methods will be really important as well. We'll talk about a few of these today. Using multiple strategies can help your search be even more successful. You're also going to want to tailor your materials, such as your resume and your cover letter. You'll want to target them for each position. And then keeping a system to keep track of your search. So making sure that you know dates and deadlines, when you've applied, including job descriptions, not just the links, and any contacts that you might have with that organization or company. If you are an international student, you'll need to be aware of work authorizations before starting a job, co-op, or internship. Visit ISSS to learn more. There are some additional considerations, so I'd encourage you to look through that before getting started. And lastly, focus on what you have control over. There's so much about this process that you do not have any control over, and it can feel even more overwhelming if you start worrying about all of the things such as they didn't call me back, or I haven't heard about this application, or they didn't offer me an interview. You don't have control over any of that. You have control over the things that we'll talk about today. So try to keep your mind focused on those things. It's helpful to know what you're looking for. So what industries and companies might hire for your major, or which ones might you be interested in? We have a lot of resources to help you with that. Within Handshake, there is an employer directory where you could keyword search and find a list of companies that might be interesting for you. We also have a section on our website called What Can I Do with the Major In? For each major within the college. You can access those web pages to see employers that have hired a lot of students within your major previously. You can also use other tools like LinkedIn or employer websites, or even talking to other people, such as alumni, faculty, classmates, to learn a little bit more about industries and companies that could be a good fit for you. Also think about your ideal work environment. Do you want to work with others in a team? Do you like working independently? Maybe in an office or lab setting or remotely? How big is the company? That can definitely impact the culture as well. A survey from Glassdoor indicated that 89% of people think it's important for a company to have a clear mission. 77% consider the company's purpose before applying, and 56% indicate the culture is more important than salary. Also think about your ideal location. Do you want to work in or out of state, near home? What's the commute time? Do you want to work remotely? And then the position type. What kind of duties and responsibilities do you want to have within your position? Maybe you want to work with doing design or project management or research and development. And then also being aware of your skills and strengths, what you're good at, and what you value. All of these can really impact what you're looking for. I mentioned tailoring application materials. This is really important to do because you want to treat each application as an individual application. I don't want you submitting the same resume and cover letter for all of the positions because the employer will read that and realize that you have not tailored it for their role at all, and that's quite important. You want to make sure that you write your resume and cover letter, ensuring that you're addressing the specific and unique qualifications and desires of the employer, and tweaking your documents to highlight those relevant experiences. So you'll use the job description as a guide. That's what will tell you what the employer wants, and then you can tailor your materials accordingly. A lot of companies use applicant tracking systems. So we know that these systems use keywords in applicant materials to kind of sift through and see if you're a good enough fit for that role. We also recommend using minimal formatting. Don't use tables or columns, avoiding lines dividing sections. All of those things should help the systems read your materials a little bit better. Some general tips for your application materials. A one-page resume is pretty standard for undergraduate level students. 2 pages, maybe a little longer for graduate level, depending on the position in the company. Cover letter, again, read the job description, focus on key skills and experiences that position description references. You want to make sure that you're brief and concise, but clearly spell out how your qualifications match those job requirements. You want to connect the dots for employers, make it obvious why you're the perfect candidate. And then references, this would be a list of about 3 to 5 professional contacts that you have. You'll put these on a document with their contact information, and then you'll submit those to the employer when they are asked for. You also want to make sure that you talk to your contacts and make sure that they're comfortable serving as a reference for you. Keep in mind that you can also tailor your networking and interview strategies as well. Know who you're talking to, know what they're interested in, and then speak accordingly. So how do I read a job description? Usually there are dates such as a posting date and a deadline of when you need to apply, a location, information about the company. Oftentimes they will give you information about what they're looking for, perhaps information about their team, and then there should also be an actual job description that outlines minimum and preferred qualifications. Some positions have a more thorough explanation than others, but oftentimes these are the topics or categories that you'll see. If you're reading through the qualifications and you feel like you match about 70% or more of what they're looking for and you're still really excited about it, go ahead and apply. Oftentimes you may have other experiences or qualifications that would be really appealing to that employer as well. The one exception of that I would say is the degree level requirement. So if it says a master's degree required in the minimum qualifications and you only have a bachelor's, I probably would not apply for that position. We'll transition to search strategies. As I mentioned, there are many different strategies for searching for positions. Try to use at least 2 of the strategies from each of the categories that we'll go over. We'll talk about person-to-person strategies and then online strategies. So first, for person-to-person strategies, there are quite a few different ways to do this. So it might be in person or it might be virtual, but the idea is connecting directly with a person. Career fairs are a really great way to do this because you'll be speaking with somebody directly, learning a little bit more from them about the company and the role, and you can further assess if you'd be a good fit. Employer events and information sessions. These are opportunities where an employer might come to campus or they might host a virtual session to talk about their company. On-campus interviews. Employers may come to campus to host interviews here, so it's convenient for you. Another way to meet with somebody in person. There are professional organizations and conferences that you could attend or be a part of to meet people. And then referrals. Make sure you're telling your network and your contacts who you'd like to meet, what type of people, or what types of companies. All right, and then you can also use online strategies to get in touch with actual people. Alumni are a really great resource to do this. We've got 2 different platforms here that we'll talk about. The first is the Maroon and Gold Network, and then the second one is LinkedIn Alumni. Oftentimes you can use these systems to set up informational interviews with alumni to learn more. The first system we'll look at is the Maroon and Gold Network. This is an in-house University of Minnesota database. It's nice because everyone in this system has volunteered to be part of it because they want to have conversations with current students or alums. So you'll need to set up a profile. After you do that, there are a lot of different options on the top toolbar that you can access. I'm under the Network tab. You can see there's over 6,000 users in this system, and there are a lot of different search filters on the top here. So you could add in a keyword. I also like filtering down by science and engineering. You can also access additional filters and sort by major. So you could find your own specific major or perhaps a specific company that you'd like to get in touch with. There's also degree types. So if you're looking for other master's level students or alums or bachelor's level, you're able to do that. And there are some other identities in here as well. So once you find the people that you're looking for, this system allows you to connect with them. It also sets up messages that you can customize for your own purposes. And from there, you can set up meetings with these alums to ask them questions about what they do, what they'd recommend for you, information about their company, or any other questions that you have for them. The second platform is LinkedIn. If you type in linkedin.com/alumni, this page will be brought up for you if you have the U of M listed in your education section. Otherwise, you can do a search at the top for University of Minnesota and access the school page. From here, you can see alumni is selected. So there are many more alums in this system. So that is one perk of using this. However, the Maroon and Gold Network has a really great response rate. So chances are if you reach out to somebody through the Maroon and Gold Network, they will respond to you. In here, there are additional filters. So you can see where alums are living, where they're working. You can toggle over and see what they do or what they studied, as well as skills and how you're already connected to them. So perhaps you are a computer science student and you're wondering what types of career paths might be out there and who you might be able to connect to. By selecting one of the filters, all of the others adjust. So you can see a lot of computer science alums are at Target and Amazon and Microsoft and Google. You can keep narrowing down. And once you've got the right filters in, if you look at the bottom of the page, these will be the people that fit that criteria. Might be current students as well if they're listing computer science in their profile. Otherwise, you can definitely look at individual profiles and similarly choose to connect with them. This system's a little bit different in that you're limited in your initial message, so you might just say something simple of, I'd love to learn a little bit more about you and your career. Would you have time to meet with me? And start there. LinkedIn also has a lot of other resources such as jobs. You can see that at the top here. These jobs also include internships that you might be searching for. You can also use this main search bar to find companies, follow companies that you might be interested in, or even find other people outside of the U of M network that are working at those companies to continue networking with. There are also many online search strategies that we will cover. We'll go through Handshake, using company web pages, LinkedIn we just mentioned, job search websites, and temporary or staffing agencies. Handshake is the U of M system for finding posted positions such as jobs, internships, and co-ops. Once you log into the system, there are a few different tabs at the top of the page. We'll take a look at jobs. You can search for positions in a lot of different ways. You could start by adding in a keyword. Oftentimes, I like to look at the All Filters section to begin with. So once you're in here, you might be able to select the type of position that you're looking for, as well as a job role if you're familiar with what you might want to do, or even the industry that you might want to get into. I found that those filters work pretty well for finding relevant positions. There's also a section for major. You could try adding this in and see what kind of results you're getting. Sometimes adding too many filters narrows our results down too much, but it's nice to be able to try and see what might be available. So you'll see on the left-hand side of the page, this is the whole list of jobs that fit that criteria. And then on the right-hand side of the page is the job description or position description. You can see there are options to bookmark or save these positions. You can come back to them later on. And then there will always be some information about this position, including a button to apply. So it will either say apply or apply externally. Each option will prompt you to start applying within Handshake. So you'll upload your resume, a cover letter if it's asked for, and then if it says apply externally, step 2 is to finish the application on the company website. If you are an international student, there are also options for searching for positions by work authorization. So you can select employers that will accept CPT and OPT or will sponsor students in the future. This is the Employers tab that I was mentioning, where you can type in a keyword and it will populate a list of companies that might be relevant for you to research. And there are also events at the top. This will allow you to find out about career fairs, any prep events that we have, or other sessions or information that employers are hosting that might be interesting to you. And then I don't have it on my screen here, but you'll have a button at the top that says Students. This allows you to reach out to other students who have interned or worked at a company that you're considering, or even reaching out to them to talk about other things that they've done that you can see within their profile. So you're able to network right within this system. I've mentioned co-ops a few times. If you're looking for more specific information about co-ops, I would recommend going to cse.umn.edu/co-op for additional information. Specifically, this Prospective Students tab has a lot of really good information, such as who's eligible, how to locate and apply for a co-op, important dates and deadlines, info sessions, and then this FAQ tab also has a lot of really good information. So if you have any specific questions about co-ops, I would recommend looking here first. Another online strategy is looking directly at company web pages. Most companies will have a section called Careers or something similar. You might toggle to that to see what they have posted directly on their website. And as I mentioned, if you're applying for positions through Handshake, it might direct you to this spot anyways. Now, the benefit of applying on a company website versus a different system like Google Jobs or Indeed.com is that 6 times as many people actually apply through job boards rather than directly through the company websites. So you may want to keep that in mind and apply directly on the company website. If you are finding a position in Handshake, I would recommend using Handshake because then you have the U of M branding attached with your application. Web pages at company websites can also give you some good information about who they are as a company. You might be able to click through, go beyond the About Us section, look into their values, products, services, or news that they have. Oftentimes they even have information like benefits that the company offers, perhaps employee resource groups, or additional information that could help you assess if you'd be a good fit. Additionally, on our Career Center website, we have other job search websites posted. We have a comprehensive list on our job search resources broken down by industry-specific job boards, government and nonprofit, and boards for academia as well. And I had mentioned the What Can I Do with a Major In pages before. These also have major-specific websites, which oftentimes link to job boards tailored for that major. Temporary or staffing agencies are another really great resource for job leads. Some of these agencies have exclusive arrangements with large companies to help fill their positions. Temporary jobs can also be a really great way to learn skills and gain experience or try out an area and also earn money while looking for a more permanent position. And some of the temporary positions can eventually lead to a steady full-time job as well. When you're using temporary or staffing agencies, make sure to investigate carefully to see what the company can do for you, and if there are any costs associated with it, I would recommend not using that company. We have a list of these on our website. All of these have been vetted, and we think they are good resources. So after you've applied, we recommend following up. It's important to be bold and proactive. You may need to find that company or recruiter on LinkedIn if you don't have their contact information already. You may want to send a thank you if you've already had an interview or after any networking interactions. It's helpful to reach out. And then just be respectful of the employer's time. You can call them, you can email them, but don't do it every day. If you haven't had an interview yet, now is a good time to start preparing. We do have some job offer guidelines for employers posted on our website as well, because we understand that a lot of our positions are really competitive and deadline driven. However, we want to make sure that students have the best experience possible, and we don't want you to be pressured into making a hasty decision, which can oftentimes lead to reneging on those offers. So to reduce the likelihood of reneging, we've asked that employers follow these guidelines. So for fall recruitment, if you're applying for positions during the fall semester, if you are a previous intern and they're offering a full-time conversion offer or a returning internship offer, we're asking that that offer remain open until October 15th or a minimum of 3 weeks, whichever occurs later. And for any new positions, we're asking that the offer remain open for a minimum of 3 weeks. For spring recruitment, we want that offer to remain open for a minimum of 2 weeks. So if you're ever asked to get back to an employer within that window, you can always share these guidelines with them. We've also partnered with Ready for Success, a local organization, to provide professional clothing at no cost to you. We know that professional clothing can be quite expensive and it is needed for interviews. So appointments are limited. We recommend that you access the online application to start. You can see the link on the screen. You do need to be currently searching for a job, co-op, or internship and demonstrate financial need to be considered for this. You will get at least one suit, brand new or gently used, as well as accessories, pending the availability. So we'll be thinking about this. It can be really helpful for future interviews. If you have any additional questions about the content that we covered today, please feel free to reach out to the Career Center. You can always email us, or you can schedule an appointment with a career counselor to talk more about your individual needs. Thank you.